Hello everyone, welcome back to Center Stand Mechanics. My name is Kyle, and today we're going to get back to working on the xs650 Ultimate Zombie Apocalypse bike. I've been riding it around a little bit. I just took the seat and the fuel tank off, and I just wanted to retorque the head after it's been ridden around a little bit, just to make sure everything's tight. And it's running pretty good. The only complaint I have is back to those carburetors. They're not very good. They're questionable at best. They came out of a box. They were all seized up, and I rebuilt them the best I could, but I've never been able to get them to work right. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I got pod filters on there, and they're CV carbs, and I just, the way the air flows into the back of them, I think causes them to have problems when the pod's on. You run it without the pod on, it runs great. It's got tons of power, it revs right up, it pulls hard. I just wish it would work like that with the pods on. And as soon as you put the pods back on, you get into that mid-range, and it just kind of I think it's getting too much air. It's messing with the throttle slide somehow, I think. I'm not sure, I'm not an expert on it, but I can't seem to get it to run properly. From what I can tell with these bikes, most guys will switch over to like a cable pull throttle, and then you can run the pods on, because it doesn't get messed with the flow of air into the back of the car. At least that's what I think is going on anyways. But because this is a low budget build, and it's an experimental project, and that's what I like about it. I like playing around with it, right? So what I was thinking of doing today, here's an old head that's no good. It's actually garbage. There's all kinds of problems with it. So I got this for mocking up, and I got this Chinese carb. These carbs are super cheap, and if I can get this one to work, so what I want to do is I want to go single carb, and I want to make my own manifold. I got an old exhaust pipe here off the xs650, and I'm gonna see if I can somehow craft this into a way that I can make like an intake coming off the side. If I can rig up this carb, I'll use this as like a template. This head, yeah, one of the spark plug holes is messed up real bad, beyond fixing, and I took all the hardware out of this head, all the valves and springs and everything. I kind of just stripped it. It's just basically a bare block of aluminum now, but I keep it around for this purpose, so I can use it as a template. So I think I'll figure out some kind of flanges to bolt on here, and then I'll try to weld this thing, like tack it, get it all placed right, and then I'll fill the rest of the weld in. My metal working skills are pretty novice. I've always kind of dabbled in it a little bit, but I've never focused on the the welding or anything like that. So this isn't going to be a how-to weld. There's much better people to learn off of out there. This is just a do it myself kind of thing. So yeah, you'll probably think some of my techniques are funny, because I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to fabricating and stuff like that. I have to admit I'm a little bit you know, new to it, but hey, I'm not afraid to try. So, and that's half the battle right there. So I'm gonna give it a whirl. Yeah, so I've got another one of the. I got a bunch of old exhaust pipes, and you know, and part of this build is kind of using what you have. That's the beauty of it, and I like that kind of thing. You know, just, you know, using all the junk you got and making something work out of it. That's kind of cool to me. So I'm still going with that, and you know what? And if it works, you know, is it a bad idea if it works, right? These carbs are so cheap. If I can make this run half decent, or at least better than the way it is, that would be pretty cool. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna cut this down. I'm gonna try to see how I can make it fit on here, and yeah, just go from there. All right, let's get started, shall we? Yeah, so like roughly here, can't really see that, but you know, roughly there. Let's see, a pencil here. Yeah, so roughly here is where the frame comes up. So like, you know, something like that's going to interfere with the frame, right? That's the problem. Yeah, so I'm just kind of playing with an idea here. Just gonna, yeah, just gonna nip this off and something to play with. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing I was looking at, but I left this a little bit long so I can kind of work it in, but I got the centerpiece out, but then I was looking at it, there's a crack right here, if you look. This one right here. Yeah, so this isn't the best material to be working with, but yeah, there's probably other things like that on here. Yeah, that's too bad. Such an old piece of pipe. It's all rusted on the inside too. I was gonna have to come up with a way to kind of polish that down. Yeah, it's thin in spots. Yeah, I'll just keep playing with it here. I'll see if I can come up with something. I'm just gonna try cutting another piece like this one out of another piece of pipe, which I think is a little bit more solid. Something like that, and then I'll just, you know, cut that through. So I'm just trying to cut a hole here for when this goes on, and yeah, and I'll just dial this all in. So something like that. So this is gonna, you know, with limited tools, I kind of got it to, you know, fit in there like so. I'll have to fill it in best I can with my amateur skills. Yeah, something like that. Okay, I've got this set up. I'm going to try to put a little tack in here, and I can still kind of bend it a little bit. Turn our machine on. I'm going to start with a pretty low setting. That's pretty low. Okay. Put a little tack in here. Kind of blew a little hole in it there. So just wanna Alright, well, I'm just going to keep filling it in, and then I'll probably grind it, clean it up, fill it in some more. And it's kind of working. Well, it's the next day now, and after a long session of welding and grinding and trying to wash the metallic taste out of my mouth. I've kind of come up with a partial design here. So here, I gotta flip this over. So this upside down. So that goes there like so. And I haven't finished this yet, but we'll talk more about that later. There's got to be like a flanges welded on here too. And that's kind of what I was thinking. The only problem is, after talking to my mechanic buddy and a few other guys, I think I'm gonna have to change this a little bit or redo it. This corner here is too sharp. Like, this is good here, it sweeps down nice, but it's not gonna turn this corner very well. I'm talking about the air fuel mixture. A couple things I could do is, I was thinking of cutting out this corner here and just putting on a piece and you know, and then cutting this out and then making it like, you know, like this, or, you know, redo the whole piece and just start over, because this thing here really should be flipped 180 degrees so it sweeps up just like this one to get the proper flow. I don't know why I kind of did it this way. I've seen them like in a U shape, and I guess and then they're joined in the center. I was kind of copying that idea, but I think it would be better if it swept this way, because what I think will happen is this this cylinder will probably lean out a bit and this one will be rich, I think. It'd be nice if they were more equal. So there's that. So I'm gonna look at the material I have left and see about making a new one. I don't know. I rammed about 40 feet of MIG wire into that one, trying to build this up, and I didn't show any of it because, well, it was terrible and it looked like a row of seagull shit, you know. Yeah, so about 3 cutting wheels and 2 grinding discs and all that was on my floor, and I kind of swept up a little bit, but it's all over the bench here. And so yeah, so there's that. So I'm thinking I might have to redo it a bit, but before I do that, I'm gonna just change gears a little bit and maybe work on these flanges. I've got a chunk of metal around here. Here it is, right here. I've got this this chunk of steel here, and I've got these gaskets that go on here, and I'm just gonna place them on here, trace them out, and start with the holes, and then I'll cut around them and grind and shape them and get that done anyways, because that should be fairly straightforward to do. And then I'll turn back to this situation here and decide what I'm going to do, if I'm going to redo the whole thing or just cut out this little corner here. It'd be nice to redo the whole thing, but I don't know. Make that a wall hanger. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to start working on this, these flanges, and then go from there. Yeah, so just got one of the intake manifold gaskets here. I'm just using it as a template. Just tracing. Tracing out the basic shape. And then I'll put the holes in it. And then should probably cut one out first and then do the other one. So I got my drill press set up. Make sure that goes down all the way. So I'm gonna set this up with a block of wood underneath it. That way I can punch through the center, and I probably want to clamp this down like so. There. There. Make sure this is clamped down. Alright. Let's give this a whirl. See how this goes. Oh. Oh, it's cutting nice. Oh, that sounds good. That sounds nice. All right, I'm making washers. That's pretty cool. Well, that took a little while, but luckily I only have 2 to make. So there's one, and then I'll probably change out the bit, and then I'll drill these little holes, cut this one out, and then we'll make a different one. So now, just got to cut these holes. I'm just wondering, I should probably clamp this down too, that way I can oil it. Okay, so I'm just gonna start cutting this out, and then I'll bring it back when I have it all kind of roughly cut out. There, that's the basic shape, and then I'll let this cool down a bit, and then I'll work on the other one, but then I'll come back to this and round off all the corners and all that stuff. So, all right, there's 2 flanges here made up. You know, they're not perfect, but I'm pretty sure they'll work just fine. They're still hot, so I was just kind of grinding them up and making them you know, look as best I could. But yeah, I think that'll work really good. So now I gotta decide if I'm gonna keep this or what. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do is I got this little piece out here to try to smooth out this corner, and I checked, I don't have enough of this pipe to make a new one, and without, you know, chopping up another exhaust that potentially could be used. So I don't really want to do that. So I think I'm going to keep working with this piece, because, you know, if it's not good, this can be like the first prototype. There might be other versions of this down the road. So we'll go with this one, and we'll try to prove concept, and then maybe possibly make another one down the road. So what I want to do is we'll try this one, but first I have to cut out this this metal that's in here. Cut it back a little bit. And then I'll weld this piece in. And then while I cut this open, I might try to clean up some of the other surfaces in there. That might be my chance to try to clean that up a little bit. And then I'll fit this in there, like so. I'll put another 40 feet of big wire into it, and it should be good. Yeah. So I'll chop this out as best I can, and yeah, we'll go from there. So this is where I'm at with it. I still got a little ways to go. It's not easy cutting out these inside corners like this, but I'm getting there. Yeah, I'll cover that up, but yeah, so I just thought I'd show you my progress so far, and I'll bring you back when I got this all opened up. So I got this thing all cut out, and it's prepped. I've cleaned up the inside pretty good, as best I can anyways. I got all these, there was some sharp edges in here, and I die grinded them down the best I could. And then I've got our piece that we're gonna weld in here. It's all prepped up. Now it's gonna go something like that. I was thinking I might tack this on a little bit and just tap it a little bit with my ball peen hammer, and try to close up some of the gaps a little bit, and then continue on, and then just, yeah, and then weld the whole thing in. But I think that's gonna have to do like that. Yeah. There. Well, that's what I ended up with. You know, it's not the prettiest thing you've ever seen, but I figure I should try it out, see if it works before I spend too much more time on it. It's you know, it should work, but I guess we'll see. Okay, so I've been trying to patch this up as best I can. It looks kind of crazy the way it is now. It's got a whole bunch of filler welds and whatnot on it, but it doesn't have to look pretty. It just has to work. And I think I want to try it out first before I spend too much more time on it, because I can just keep going and going and going and going, and you know, it's you know, it probably would have been best to start off with a better piece of metal, you know, because what happens is you start going along, and then you punch through, and then you got to patch that up, and then you got to grind it down, and it's a never-ending cycle. And I've tried to clean out down in there as best I can. This corner right here, as it goes through, I've smoothed out all the edges on the inside with this die grinder here. And I think before I put it on the bike to try it out, I think I might just give it a coat of paint, and it'll help smooth out some of the inside here, and of course, you know, stop it from rusting on the outside, and probably help plug any pinholes too if I've got any. As far as I know, it should be fairly airtight, but we'll see. It's kind of funny looking, eh? But yeah, I'm pretty novice welder, so you know, if it works, we'll call it a win. But yeah, I made a hell of a mess in my shop here. It's just there's stuff all over the floor and everywhere, and yeah, I'm looking forward to packing this up for now. But yeah, I'll get this little bit of a paint job, and then we'll let that dry, and then we'll put it on the bike, see how it runs. We might have to make another one. We'll see. All right, here's my first coat of the poor man's powder coating. Otherwise, just called it, put some high heat paint in an old cat food bag. Shook it all around, and now I'm just letting it dry. As you know, I'm going for that textured look. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna let this tack up a little bit, and then I'll run it through the bag again. And I don't know, might give it a couple of runs through that bag, and we'll call it good. See how it works. So it's a few days later, and the paint's dried on the old single carb intake here. Yeah, it still looks a little rough in spots, but I think it should function okay. Might need to sand down some of the paint runs here. It went on pretty thick. So yeah, so I'm going to start getting the bike ready. Got to take the old carbs off and get the engine ready to put this on. I've got my carb here. I'm going to take the bowl off and have a look at the jets. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work on there as far as the jetting goes, and you know, I'm going to just see if it's anywhere similar to the jetting on the xs650 carbs. I'm not sure. Might have to play around with this. Of course, I got my 2 gaskets here, and then I got this piece of scrap hose. This is from the scrap bin, and it should fit on here and then connect. Like, I'll cut this down, you know, say, you know, something like that, and then that'll join the carb onto here with some hose clamps, and yeah, then I'll hook a fuel line up to it, and yeah, it should work. But before I get all that rigged up, I got to take the old carbs off. So I'm gonna work on that, and maybe I'll bring you back when I got this this new intake bolted on. Sounds like a plan. All right, got it bolted on there. And yeah, it's all nice and tight and nice and secure on there. Okay, so here we are. So this is the top. You see how I can go a bit longer on the back side here, and I'm hoping that'll help keep it clocked in the right position. So if I go something like this, right, cut it kind of on a diagonal, And then, I don't know yet, but somewhere up here, I'll cut the thing and it'll be on an angle. I'm just going to put this on here for reference. But I think what I'll do is I'll cut this angle first. See. And then I'll measure from here, say, to however much I want it, however long I want it, and then, you know, cut it and, yeah, figure out if I can get it on there. Okay guys, I got my little miter saw here. I'm not sure how this is going to cut this hose. It's pretty stiff, so I think it should just slice right through this. I'd be careful trying this at home. This isn't what this tool is designed for, and I've used these quite a bit, so I'm pretty experienced. So I'd be careful just going and grabbing one of these. They could jam in there and pull you right in. So you gotta be careful using this stuff. So I'm gonna give this a whirl. I'm just gonna line up again. Get my blade spinning nice and fast. I'm gonna go real slow on it, and hopefully this will slice right through, no problem. Whew. I cut that beautifully. It smells like burnt rubber in here now. But that, you see how that made a nice, clean, straight cut on the angle I wanted? That's kind of what I was after. So, I'm not sure where the next cut will be yet, so I'll get my tape measure. I'm not going from off the tip. I'm kind of starting at the 1/2 inch point. So if I start there, it goes past 1 1/8 inch, so that's about 5/8 that it's grabbing on here. You know, this is probably a better view here, right? But it's not as accurate as what I just did, so it's a little under actually. It looks like it's 9/16, but we'll give it a little extra because I also got this notch here I need to account for. So yeah, we'll call it 5/8. I want to go like right up into here. Yeah, so what do we got? We got 1 13/16 inches. Yeah. So see, so we got 13/16 inches is up in this area here. So now we need a cut that's kind of on an angle, being that this is the bottom right here. Sorry. So this is the bottom right there. I'm just sort of thinking out loud as I'm doing this. Yeah, so slight angle. And this will be the top. And then a notch will be in here somewhere. But I'll do that afterwards. Alright, let's cut that like that. Oh, it was kind of sketchy at the end there. It was starting to grab. Alright, so that's our piece. Yeah, it's about the width of this tips of the screwdriver here. Okay. So we just gotta pick our top. Something like this. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll nick this out, and we should be golden. Might be able to get that with a lighter or something. Does it burn? Not so much. So next I'm just going to kind of clean this up with some WD-40 and just see if I can bring it back to life a little bit. It's a little bit stiff and dirty. And originally I was, was thinking I'd just cut it straight, but I thought, why not take advantage of, get as much meat on there as possible to try to keep it from, slipping around or rotating. Give it the best chance possible. All right, so there's our piece. It goes on like that. Carburetor should key into this top piece. Put a clamp here. I'll put a clamp here. It should be golden. So I'm gonna go slip this on to the manifold. I was gonna spray a little bit of soap on it and try to slip this on. I think that'll help. I'm just prepping this out with a little bit of soapy water, I should say. And the beauty about this stuff is it'll slip on, but then it'll evaporate, and then it all right, I just tapped that on with my little hammer. That's a tight fit. I don't think that's going to move around too much. So now I'm just going to measure. Yeah, that should fit the carb just nicely. I got my band clamps in the mail. I got 2 of them here. And I went with these because they're they're pretty skookum little clamps. They're fairly broad. You can torque them down pretty tight. And I don't know, they just kind of look steampunk to me, so I thought, well, hey, why not? So I was thinking I'll orientate them on here like this. Right? So one will go there. Something like that. And then the other one can go here. Say, I'm just gonna take these right up where then I can get the carb on here. So then I'll spray a little bit of this cable. It's kind of in the way, but I'm thinking I might be able to, zap strap it to one of these clamps or something, or put it in between. It would have been nice if I came on a slightly different angle, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. But that's okay. So I'll just put a little bit of this on there. Don't want to put too much down there. And then carburetor should just slip on. Oh yeah. There. Make sure our little notch is in place. Yeah. Cool. That's all the way in. You can actually feel it butting against the manifold, so that's good. And then hopefully I can get this around. Maybe I'll have to put one like so. And then the other one. Actually, I could turn them in like that. So I was thinking if I put one like this, You put that clutch cable in between them. That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah, and the clutch cable just sits in between those. Well, it looks good. Okay. Something like that. There. Yeah, it's on there pretty tight. I'll just slop that down on there, and then I could probably just clamp that together right here. And yeah, I got free movement of the choke, and it's on there nice and secure. That's awesome. So now all there is to do is hook up my fuel bottle, put some fuel in it, and see if it'll run before I do any more. I'm not going to put the tank on quite yet. Just want to make sure this is actually going to work. Got my fire extinguisher ready. I got my fuel bottle ready. I'm going to hang it up a little higher. And when I get ready to go here, and fuel's all hooked up. And I've got my rag handy. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know how it's going to run. If it for some reason runs away on me, I'll stuff this in there, or even, you know, the most extreme scenario, I'll have to douse it with the fire extinguisher. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I've got the throttle snapping back nicely, so I don't think the throttle is going to stick wide open or anything. Got that hung up. Now I'm just going to just turn this on. Make sure it's filling up with fuel. So yeah, we'll put the choke on. Just push that down, and then we'll put the key on, and we'll try running it here. See what happens. Whoa! Whoa, she started right up. My flashlight fell down. Here, I'll just turn that off. Man. Oh, she lit up like a firecracker. That's awesome. Okay, I'm just gonna turn the idle in just a bit. Alright, let's try that again. Crazy. It's a little lean on the idle. I can tell you that right now. Yeah, a little lean on the idle. It only wants to idle with the choke on. And it's weak at best here. Let's see how that goes there. crazy responsive. That's crazy. Listen to that. That's way more responsive than the last time I had it running. Wow. Wow, it's idling. Oh, shit's falling down. Look how responsive that is. That's nuts. Wow. That's pretty awesome, actually. Wow. It's got way more power than before. Bit exhausty in there. I'm gonna have to pull it out of there. Breathing in that shit. It's a little. It smells a little rich in the exhaust, like, you know, that unburnt fuel smell. I don't know if it's just because it's closed up in there, but it actually runs a lot better than I thought it would. I'm surprised. It feels way more responsive, like night and day. I don't know how that is. I expected it to be kind of dull, but it's not. It's the opposite. It's like it's instant. Might be kind of crazy to ride like that. Alright, well, I'm going to shut it off before I get too hot here. Just being that it's air cooled, I don't want it to overheat just sitting there. Well, that was a good first start. That went a lot better than I expected. Cool. Yeah, I want to go for a ride now. That is awesome. All right, let's go for a ride. it runs and it's rideable, sort of. It's still got to mess around with the jetting a little bit. It's you can idle okay, and then there's a little bit of hesitation off idle, and then once you get on the main, it flies. It's okay, but there's that little bit of a stumbling spot, and I'll just have to see if I can work that out, play with the jets and whatnot. Possibly might need a different carb, you know. I just kind of randomly picked that one. It almost like it needs like a carb with an accelerator pump to get it off the idle circuit, you know. I don't know. I'm not an expert at it, and I'm just kind of winging it and stuff. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you that it does ride around, and for the most part, it goes pretty good. It's just when you have to slow down, make a turn or whatever, and then you go again, it kind of stumbles a little bit. But that's nothing. Can't work out. I did check the intake, see if it was leaking air. You know, sprayed around it doesn't seem, there's no vacuum leak that I can tell so far. So the muffler seems to have a leak in it. It never had a leak like that before. It's a little bit noisy. That's kind of a new thing, so I might have to see if I can get the baffle out and, I don't know, maybe patch it up a little bit or something, or think about getting a different tip for that exhaust, or just changing it. I do have another exhaust. It's a dual exhaust for that one, so maybe try putting that on. I don't know, but that's the fun in it all. And yeah, I want to thank you for watching, and if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel out. And we'll hope to see you in the next video. Center Stand Mechanics out.